Well, I had to get rid of my computer that I watched the episode on. Even after completely reforming it, it never worked correctly. The episode file would never be deleted from it, and I kept on opening on its own. I wiped the hard drive clean several times, and the episode won't go away. The sound control did not work, it was on a laptop, but the power never seemed to be run out, and I could never get it to turn it off. I was gonna keep the computer just so I could have the copy of the lost episode. But looking at this made me nervous. I had recruiting nightmare of several nights in a row. The episode was playing, but instead of the photorealistic Bart corpse, it was myself at 10 years old. I found myself at 10, and the nightmare was closer to it than my own memory had been. I swear, I see that picture of myself when I was 10, dead. Started off by flashing the computer screen so quickly that I could never be sure. After that, I destroyed my computer. I haven't been able to get any episode of it out of my head, although I decided to watch and do more research to try to understand it. I found new people online who seemed to know about it. Apparently, the episode aired once in the shrub of Portland, Oregon, and I have a cousin who was watching The Simpsons during the first season and lives out there, so I asked him if he remembered the episode. He asked me how I knew about it, and it was a nightmare that he had been only told his parents about it, and I was only few years old at the time. I told him about the episode that I saw and the people online who remembered it, and he just thought I was just playing a prank on him. But when I got to look at the online post about it, he actually screamed and hung up. He hadn't responded to any attempts I made to him to contact since. Determined to get to the bottom of this, I kept searching online, and I found someone who said they had a tape of it and that they would sell it to me. I was nervous, but determined to find out the truth about this in the end for that matter. So I thought that the tape was already old and cheap TV VCR, since I had a feeling neither would be the same as I watched the episode. The episode was pretty much the same as the download file. I just don't want to say anymore. This wasn't worth it. I'd give anything to go back of how I felt about the computer with this file scaring me. I destroyed the tape, but it didn't help. The commercials on the tape, I don't want to remember them. They were monsters from my dreams that would never told anyone about it. The news, promos, the tragedies that happened, yet surreal and computer-generated animations that would have been possible in the 80s or now for that matter. A former friend watched it with me until he saw completely different things, with one exception. There was seemingly a live news report of June 6, 2013, in complete monotone. He was recited the details of millions of people having died in their sleep, some of them waking up a few seconds first, rambling hysterically, and something that people would only piece together as something to do with nightmares. I'm pretty sure you could figure out the date that was on the tombstone that currently live celebrities. There was a difference in the episode though. The joke Homer did was completely clear on his vision, but when it zooms in on Homer's face, while looking at Bart, he says, "If only we were all that lucky." And that, my little pretties, was a Dead Bart update. A Simpsons Lost Episode creepypasta written by Kai Simpson. My final thoughts on the story? Well, it's actually been a while since I actually, touched, Dead Bart. It's a pretty, popular creepypasta. I know some people really don't like that creepypasta, but, that's understandable. I could respect their opinion. But I could definitely say that the Dead Bart update was actually somewhat interesting, but at the same time, it didn't really make any sense, and it was just, confusing at times. Like, I'm not saying that to be mean or anything, it was just, I don't know what it is, actually. It was just really confusing at times. Now, I am going to explain, why I found this episode to be, confusing. So I could definitely say that this story actually portrayed a pretty good, creepypasta for what this one is. Now, this one, it was somewhat good, but unfortunately it just fell flat, and it's really unfortunate that it fell flat. But I'm not trying to bash anybody here. Like, if you like this story, that's fine. If you don't like it, that's okay too. But here's my issue. The fact that, the person's been having nightmares and that the episode wouldn't get out of his head. Okay, like, that's understandable. Like, if you're having nightmares about it, why would you have nightmares about the episode? Like, I don't understand why that's the case. That just kind of makes me confused. It's like, why you're having nightmares about this episode, and how would it be hard for that episode to not go away? Like, if the file could never be deleted from the computer, it kept opening on its own. Like, I don't know why that would be the case, to be honest. Especially if you wipe the hard drive clean several times, the episode won't go away. How would that be possible for it to not go away? There's barely any explanation as to why that's the case. Like, that's just the one thing I could definitely say was confusing about this episode. But another thing I want to mention is that when the episode was playing, instead of the photorealistic Bart corpse, it was yourself at 10 years old. What? How would they get a picture of someone at 10 years old and the nightmare was closer? Like, well, how would that be the case? That did not. I'm not trying to bash anybody here, but I know, Kai Simpson writes pretty good stories, and there's some stories that weren't that great, but I don't understand why would there be a picture of someone 10 years old, like yourself, but because it doesn't really make any sense. Like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, this, I think this part, it kind of really doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So that's kind of why I was kind of confused when I read that part. Now, another thing I want, it's kind of like an issue that I have to say. Now, of course, to be honest, and about, the person go online and talks about this episode, okay. And of course, people, ends up, sending the tape of the episode, and they're pretty much, is saying this a file downloaded, but, it was worth that you give up, or he for that matter. And of course, we could definitely say, hey, when they watched this, there was a few completely different things, with one exception, and then, Bart's, Homer's last words when he looks at, the corpse of Bart, saying, if only if we're that lucky. Like, what? Like, what were you, like, if Homer, wished, that he and the rest of the family were dead, maybe that could be possibility of why he said that, but there's barely any explanation to sit there and end it that way. Like, I'm not trying to sound like a hypocrite or anything, but it's just, this story was kind of, all over the place, and that kind of sucks for this update, because this update, it did somewhat of a good job, but unfortunately, parts of it was just very confusing, and it did not, make sense with, this. Like, I know you're just updating about the Dead Bart episode, that's fine. Like, if you're doing an update to, like, a creepypasta that has been done, that's fine. As long as you got an explanation to why this is an update, at least then, that would provide, at least good explanation. So that, definitely have to say that. Now, this story was just confusing at times, and that's the main issue with this story, is that it's just a little confusing. Not trying to sound, rude or anything. I'm just saying it because, just for the sake of, saying it because, I kind of know I kind of sound like a hypocrite, but, not trying to sound like, a hypocrite, but, I've actually seen some stories that were just kind of like this one, but they actually don't make a whole lot of sense. This one didn't really make too much sense. Well, at parts it didn't, at least to me. Maybe I'm missing something, or maybe I'm just not being fair. I don't know. So if you guys want to point out if there's something I'm missing, maybe I might, get a better explanation about what's going on. But at the same time, I just don't really know. I think maybe this might be just confusing for me, but other than that, it was an alright story. It's not perfect, but it was an alright story. It wasn't terrible, but I could definitely say it was alright. Now, anyways, I'm gonna be saying that right now, that this is just simply my own personal opinion, and if you happen to disagree with me, that's fine too. We're all entitled to our own opinions in regards to these creepypastas. This is simply my own personal thoughts. My final rating of the story, I'm going to give this one a 7 out of 10. I'm only giving it a 7 out of 10 is because it was interesting and had a pretty good going for. But the main issue about this story it's just confusing. Like, there were parts of the story that actually didn't make any sense, and they were just kind of confusing. That's just all I have to say about this Dead Bart update, pasta. But it's a good one, I could definitely say. It's a good pasta because it follows up, but it's just confusing. Oh, and I have to say the grammar is pretty good in the story, along with the sentence structuring and the paragraph structuring. So I'm gonna give Kai Simpson that. So, anyways, with that being the case and with that being said, the only issue is that it's just a little it's just confusing at times with certain things happening at once, and it doesn't really, make a whole lot of sense. That's the only reason why, this story is just getting the rating what it gets is a 7 out of 10. I know some people might think that's a little high, but that's just my opinion, though. And like I'm saying, if you guys have your own opinions, let me know in the comments below. And yeah. And anyways, what did you guys think about this creepypasta? Did you all enjoy it? Did you not? Also, what we have done first to help make this story a lot better? Leave me know your thoughts down in the comment section down below. I'm the Queen of Lions. Thank you so much for watching today's episode. And if you happen to be brand new here on this channel, be sure to like, comment, subscribe because I make brand new videos every single day. Don't forget to ring the notification bell when I upload so that you guys will not miss an upload. And as always, please roll the outro because I'm out.